loop, which is actually part of his recovery training. According to wildlife experts, a typical osprey can reach around 50 miles per hour by the time it hits the water. That is something else. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Fox 9 Morning News at 11. Hope to see you tomorrow for the Fox 9 Morning News and back here at 11. Up next, Fox 9 All Day, which starts in a couple seconds. I'll see you again soon.
Everybody, thanks for joining us here for All Day Live. I'm Amy Hoffert. It's the noon hour. We'll be spending the next couple of hours with you, telling you about some of the things that are going on here locally, across the country. Of course, a lot of eyes on Minnesota right now. What we're expecting today is several briefings, press conferences, some live events. We are told that there's going to be local leaders are going to be giving us a briefing on the ICE activity. This might be, it looks like maybe a recurring type of briefing that they're going to start setting up, so we'll take you there when that starts. St. Paul students are planning on walking out and protesting at the Capitol steps. They have some speakers that are lined up. We spoke with one of the organizers yesterday who told us that they're thinking there might be thousands of students there, so we'll keep an eye on that as well, Rob Olson, and we have a crew there to cover that for you live. Native American impact. This might not be a group that comes top of mind as we're talking about this increased ICE enforcement. But we have an incident that tribal members say has happened recently here, and including 3 people who they say are still detained by immigration officials. And so we're going to talk with somebody from that community and find out what they're doing now as they're reacting and how they're educating some of their members on how to stay safe and also not have any sort of interactions with or run-ins with ICE. We have now an arrest announcement that's going to be happening. This is scheduled for 1 o'clock today. Our Karen Scullen has been following this story since September when it happened. So an arrest now in the death of a baby at a daycare in Savage. Rocking Horse Ranch is the name of that daycare. You may remember that story in the headlines. So we'll check in at about 1 o'clock. Press conference with the mayor, a prosecutor, and several others to give us those details. And then, as we know, there's been, by the Trump administration, some federal funding cuts announced for several programs in Minnesota, and so we want to learn more about that impact. We may learn more from the governor, and the governor has been now moved to another sort of press conference, press briefing next hour. We're keeping tabs on that and kind of watching where the governor lands and bringing you the very latest on all of that as well. So a lot to cover here for the next couple of hours. We hope you'll stick with us. We want to start, though, by taking you live to Minneapolis. We have a couple of different places we're watching here. Portland and 34th is going to be the bottom right hand of your screen. Or 1 week ago today, Renee Good was shot and killed by a federal immigration enforcement agent. So what's been happening there is since about 9 o'clock this morning, there was an informal prayer gathering continuing until about 12:30 or so. The people who decided they wanted to put this on said this isn't about protesting. This was really just an opportunity for prayer and unity. There's one Reverend June Pierce, a local pastor, who signed up to pray at that event, and she said, quote, we need to admit to ourselves that this is above our pay grades, our town, our state, Renee's children. We all need to need prayer and to find help, hope, and healing. A couple of other places that we're watching here for you. So remind me here on the top right, Amber, because this is the state and local leaders press conference that's going to get going here in a minute. And then bottom left is... you
can just take it.
It looks like maybe, is that outside of a hospital, or where is that, Amber? Or is that the school walkout? Outside Central High School. Okay. Do we want to take folks to the, okay, let's take folks to this press conference with state and local leaders, city councilwomen. Let's listen in.
Many of us are on the ground with our communities, and what we are witnessing is harrowing. We demand it stop immediately, and the federal agents who harm our neighbors are held accountable. The murder of Renee Good and the ongoing violence we are seeing from ICE agents makes one thing very, very clear. This harm is coming from ICE, and it is making our communities less safe. It has gone so far that parents and educators are now preparing for ICE activity on school property, something that's already occurred from Roosevelt High School in my ward, where parents on the ground have reported that chemical irritants were used against them in the direction of teenage kids. We stand with our immigrant neighbors who have no choice but to leave their jobs and to stay safe and protect their families. We stand with the mothers organizing mutual aid, with constitutional observers bravely documenting these actions so that accountability is possible, with everyday people being called to do far more than they should ever have to be asked to do. There's a lot of talk about Minnesota nice. And while that is who we are, what we are seeing right now is Minnesota grit, a shared fierce commitment to caring for our neighbors and to one another, block by block. That resolve is how we will get through this moment and how we will get justice. As elected officials, our core responsibility is to represent you, to show up and to advocate for our communities. Today, you'll hear from leaders across government who are doubling down on that commitment to you and working day in and day out with each other in service to the people and on the ground. We are announcing that we will be launching a regular short live-streamed update, kind of like a live-streamed newsletter across local government to keep the public informed. Details for that will be forthcoming and will be shared through our official channels. With that, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Councilmember Jason Chavez.
Good morning. My name is Jason Chavez. I have the honor and privilege representing Ward 9 on the Minneapolis City Council, and I'm the proud son of Mexican immigrants. I stand before all of you here today against the invasion of ICE, not only in Minneapolis, but in the country known as the United States of America. This morning, while I was out in my community, I witnessed get out their vehicles on East Lake Street and on Lake Street and all over South Minneapolis, simply questioning people based on the way that they looked. They were scoping out the Phillips neighborhoods next to our community centers on particular blocks, waiting for people to go to work so they can kidnap them. What we are seeing in the streets of Minneapolis and in this state should never be normalized. Masked agents hiding their faces, not identifying themselves, driving recklessly across Minneapolis and in the state, and holding massive guns to terrorize our communities. They go up to random people on bus stops and ask about their immigration status. They follow you because of the color of your skin, to the point where brown people and immigrants have to carry their freaking passports in their pockets. And they racially profile you. And I want to give a warning to our neighbors that they are also kidnapping people with visas. And I say that here out loud today because I want you to be safe and secure and make adequate plans to keep people safe, because they're not just coming for undocumented people, they are targeting people that are immigrants.
That's right.
I want to speak loudly on what our community is saying. The color of your skin is not a crime. Going to work is not a crime. Picking up your kids is not a crime. Being in this country as an immigrant is not a crime. Pumping gas is not a crime. And most importantly, this is our community's home. This is where our loved ones and community members have their whole lives. But I do want to tell you what is a crime. It is a crime to murder Renee Good and our neighbors. It is a crime to use excessive force. It is a crime to ignore due process. And it is a crime to illegally break into people's homes. We should be concerned about what is happening on the streets of Minneapolis and in this state, where they are forcing our immigrant neighbors back into the shadows, and they are forcing people to carry passports even though they are citizens, because these ICE agents do not respect the law. And I just want to talk about one instance of what just happened, and then I'll pass it on to the next speaker. On January 12th, ICE rammed into a U.S. citizen Latino on the area of 34th and Park. They rammed into him. And then what did they do after they ran into him? They asked him about his immigration status. He is a U.S. citizen. So they ram into your car and then question your citizenship status. That is the country that we are living in Minneapolis. So what are we going to do from here? We're asking our neighbors to rise up and to support their immigrant neighbors. Provide your neighbors with rides to work and back Support your immigrant-owned businesses. We need people posted up in these locations with your whistles to make sure that you alert your neighbors when immigration enforcement is happening. Make sure that you are fundraising with mutual aid so you can provide your neighbors with rent assistance. Because if we actually are going to stop immigration enforcement from occurring in our neighborhoods, one of the things that we need to do as government, as community, is make sure that people have money for rent and food. That is why people are going to work. If we can't address that issue, people are going to continue to go to work. So that is on us as elected officials here to address that rent issue that is happening and along with food, but we're also asking neighbors to step up and help us out in this situation and continue to patrol your neighborhoods, please.
Next, we'll have Representative Mike Howard.
Good morning. My name is Michael Howard, and I'm a state representative representing the communities of Richfield and South Minneapolis in the Minnesota House. We're here today because our communities in the metro, suburbs, and throughout the state are under siege from a federal government that is increasingly brutalizing our citizens and immigrants alike, racially profiling Minnesotans indiscriminately, and violently detaining citizens who are exercising their freedom of speech. In each of these encounters, it is ICE and federal agents that are the aggressors, escalating towards violence in direct opposition to the training that law enforcement officers undergo. They are creating a state of fear that is destabilizing our communities and making them less safe for all of us. And since the murder of Renee Good, these behaviors and unlawful actions have escalated. In the community I represent in Richfield, in the last few days, Border Patrol agents racially profiled and violently arrested and detained 2 U.S. citizens who were working at Target. And this is the tip of the iceberg. Agents have pepper sprayed and haunted our schools. They have battered down the door of a home without a federal warrant, a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. They've shoved peaceful observers into traffic, caused car wrecks, and left the scene. And all of these actions, I mean, this is just a fraction of what we're seeing. It's happening minute by minute, community by community, all across our state, and it needs to end. One of the main reasons we're here today is to highlight these abuses and encourage members of the press to continue to report from the perspective of Minnesotans what is happening on the ground by the minute in our communities. Do not believe the propaganda from our federal government. Believe your own eyes in the videos we are seeing minute by minute all across our state. We plan to gather and continue to provide these examples with regularity, both for the public and for the press, because it is vital that we bring sunlight to the darkness that our federal government is trying to impose on our state. In addition, we want to tell Minnesotans that have faced this unlawful aggression that you have rights. We encourage you to contact the ACLU, who has set up a portal to document these abuses, and you can report those abuses at aclu-minnesota.org. And you're surrounded by legislators, and there are legislators throughout the state that stand ready to support and advocate for you and your rights. Lastly, a message to Minnesotans. We are so proud of you and the way you are rising up and standing up for your neighbors and communities to meet this unthinkable moment. You might think that in the wake of Renee Good's murder and this escalation of violence, that you would see people tap out and say, this is too scary, this is too hard for me to support my neighbors. We have seen the opposite. More neighbors than ever before have raised their hand to say, I want to help. I want to be a part of the solution, large and small, to support my neighbors and communities. For every agent that Donald Trump sends to our state, there are Minnesotans tenfold saying, get out, and I'm here to support my communities. And so what that tells me is that Donald Trump and his attempt to divide and conquer our state, it is failing spectacularly. That's right. Because Minnesotans are strong, they're united like I've never seen them before. Tens of thousands of Minnesotans building muscles they didn't know they had to support their neighbors. And next, I want to introduce one of those strong Minnesotans who experienced this unlawful violence from immigration officials, Patty O'Keefe. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patty O'Keefe. On Sunday, this past Sunday, January 11th, myself and my good friend Brandon Seguenza were violently arrested and detained by ICE. During that encounter, we had an ICE agent spray pepper spray into our windshield vent. They then broke our windows, dragged us out of our vehicles, handcuffed us, and put us in separate cars. On the way over to the Whipple Detention Center, I was taunted, mocked. I was called ugly. There was a picture taken of me, just like belittled and demoralized. Also, on that same ride, one of the agents said that Renee Good. Obviously, like, that was shocking, bigoted, deeply dehumanizing thing to hear. And I think it's important, though, that people know that this is what agents are saying. When we got to the detention center, we saw probably about 100 people in holding cells. Some of them were really large holding cells. Some of them were smaller holding cells. Mostly Hispanic, but also many East African people. We heard screaming, crying, just visceral agony from many of the people who were there. You know, someone saying, let me go, let me go, let me go, please let me go, begging. We heard a child crying. And so that kind of juxtaposed with the lighthearted conversations, the joking around, the small talk of all of the federal agents that were also in that facility and making this operation happen was another kind of deeply disturbing experience for me. My friend Brandon was brought into another room for questioning where he was offered money or legal protection for any undocumented family members that he might have in exchange for names of other undocumented people or names of protest organizers, a bribe, essentially. And another person in his cell, a Hispanic man, was offered that same deal. They both said no. Yeah, it was a deeply disturbing experience. I had a short conversation with a Border Patrol agent who, you know, was wondering why we were here, why we were so passionate about this. And at the end of it, he goes, you know, I think, you know, I kind of just think that we thought all you guys are crazy, right? And so you have people that are desensitized or okay with dehumanization and also think that people that are out here trying to defend their neighbors are crazy. And that's a really dangerous combination. And I think that is coming across in the way that we see that ICE officers are conducting themselves with people across the city. So I'm just one example of many. I luckily got to come home from that detention center, and most of the people there did not. This is craziness, and it needs to come to an end. Thank you.
Next up is Senator Doran Clark.
My name is Doran Clark. I'm the state senator proudly representing Northeast Minneapolis, Cedar Riverside, the University of Minnesota, and Southeast Minneapolis. I want to highlight two events that have happened in the last couple of days. On Sunday night, at the All Ages show at Pillar Forum, just as the show was getting started, an ICE activity occurred 2 doors up. The kids all came running outside. This was an All Ages show, and ICE promptly pepper sprayed them, and they ran back inside. I saw them with their eyes fully red, and the staff taking care of them and clearing out those eyes. Kids just trying to have a fun Sunday night, pepper sprayed on Central Avenue. Yesterday, I was near the neighborhood middle school when I saw a teacher crying. I said, "What's happening?" And she said, "There's ICE parked in front of the school." Went over there, and the parents had helped either watched that car drive away. That ICE vehicle was gone. But more importantly than seeing that teacher who was crying was I saw parents step in their place to help them. More importantly, I saw other teachers come and take that person's place, and that's what we're seeing all over the state. That's what we're seeing at all of our schools. We're seeing PTAs who have never been this organized getting together on Sunday and saying, what do we need to do? Organizing walking patrols from where the buses drop the kids off, from where the parents drop the kids off, so the kids can get inside and feel more comfortable. Minneapolis school kids have been through a lot this year. We had Annunciation, and now we've got ICE parking outside of our schools, driving by our schools at drop-off, at pickup. I'm so proud of our parents. I'm so proud of our neighbors. They're doing the work to get organized, and I ask you to do the same. Make sure you're knowing your rights. Make sure you're finding where to get involved in your rapid response locally. We've all got each other. We can all do this, and I'm so glad that our neighbors recognize the moment that we're stepping up to it.
Next up is Hennepin County Commissioner.
Listen to some of our state and local leaders who are weighing in today as they are announcing they're setting up a bit of a kind of routine, recurring live stream that's going to happen, and they'll be able to give folks updates. We don't have any details on when that's going to start. You'll be able to find it on all the official city channels, and we'll bring that to you. But today, just some folks who've been out in the community weighing in on what some of the things that they say that they have seen out there and what they've been hearing from some of their constituents as well. We are also following a walkout in St. Paul. This is involving the St. Paul school districts primarily. There are some others. I think Shakopee had a hand in this as well. They were putting together a caravan of folks from surrounding schools. But around 12:15 today is when we were told that students, many of them, would be walking out of class, and they would be walking then to the steps of the state capitol, where they have several speakers lined up to address the crowd, and some others, some lawmakers. So we'll be taking you there as that gets going as well, but just showing you a live look now at some of those Central High School students who are walking toward the Capitol. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on All Day Live. We'll be right back. A lot of continuing live coverage. Stay with us. welcome back to All Day Live, where we are following several live events and also have some live cameras in different places in the city. Right now, you're taking a look at 34th and Portland in Minneapolis. This was where 1 week ago today, Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent. And we've seen the fallout since. It's been a tumultuous week on many fronts for a lot of people, an emotional week as well. And we've been hearing from a lot of different voices here over the course of the last week. This was supposed to be sort of more of a moment of prayer and unity. It started about 9:30 this morning, kind of an informal organized effort that's just wrapping up right now. But as you can see, as we anticipate here on the 1 week mark, that there will be people kind of coming in and out to that spot. We are also keeping an eye on a couple of other things that are happening right now in St. Paul. If we want to show some of this, is just a live camera on the ground, so just bear with us here as our crews are on the ground walking alongside, following a group of students from the St. Paul School District who are walking out of class at this hour, and they are protesting ICE's presence in the community. They are planning on ending at the state capitol steps at about 1:15, where they will have some speakers who will talk, youth council members, others, student-led. So we'll be hearing a lot from the students here. Yesterday, we talked with one of the organizers on All Day Live, and he was telling us they anticipate possibly a couple of thousand people maybe out there today, students primarily, who wanted to protest ICE's presence here in Minnesota. So again, we'll continue to follow that. We've got Chopper up as well, and most of them walking from Central High School over to the state capitol grounds. We are also following several other live events. This is happening now in Minneapolis, City Hall. These are city leaders. We have some council members. We have some state legislators. Also some others. Minneapolis School Board member there as well, the president of the school board. So let's listen in to more of what they are having to say this afternoon.
Adult Representation Services has been fully activated. That gives legal help and for people experiencing poverty or anyone who needs help with immigration-related services. Finally, I will conclude by saying that we have redesigned our services to meet this emergent need. As you heard earlier, we will be providing briefings as a multi-jurisdictional unit committed to supporting our residents. We have redesigned to serve residents, and that is the number one thing that Hennepin County is committed to under this egregious and violent occupation by the federal government, knowing that it might not be safe to get help in times like this. We will be deepening our partnerships with neighborhood organizations and associations and trusted community partners to provide access. We are redesigning delivery to meet the needs of this moment right now. If ICE is stopping residents from coming to us, again, I cannot stress this enough, we will come to you. Our job is to help you, the residents of this city, the residents of this county and state, be resilient, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you.
Next up is Council President Elliott Payne.
My name's Elliott Payne. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the president of Minneapolis City Council. This Monday, I started my morning helping transport kids to school so that they could arrive safely. And by Monday evening, I was assaulted by ICE myself. I was on Central Avenue observing the community, standing with my community, when I saw ICE go and harass an individual waiting for the bus to go home from work. I stood there and I just kept my distance and was legally observing their operations when an ICE agent pushed me from behind. He pushed me from behind because I was watching the other ICE agent with my eyes as he was pointing his taser at every single individual that was there to help watch this resident for their safety. This is the type of reckless behavior that is unfolding in our city. I introduced myself as the council president. I tried to stir up a conversation with them to de-escalate, and even when the council president is made present and aware, they're still assaulting us. This recklessness needs to stop, and it's important that our community knows that you have rights. You have the right to observe these operations, and especially if you are vulnerable, you can stay home, and you have the right to keep your door shut you have a right to demand a judicial warrant, and if they don't have a judicial warrant, you do not have to open your door. The city is making a lot of investments into making sure that people know their rights, that we have legal services available to people. We've strengthened our separation ordinance. We've banned the use of city-owned property for staging of ICE operations. Our partners at the Park Board have also banned the use of their property. And if you witness this on park property, make sure to send an email to immigrationnprb.legal@minneapolisparks.org so that we can stay on top of this. And this is not just a whole government approach to this. This is a whole community approach to this. So stay engaged, stay out there, keeping watch of your neighborhood, stay providing mutual aid to your neighbors, getting groceries, helping get kids to school, helping families get to work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our last speaker is School Board Chair Colin Beachy.
Good afternoon. My name is Colin Beachy. I'm the current chair of the Board of Education in Minneapolis. And I would like to start by speaking to our community and, most importantly, our students and our staff. On behalf of the Board of Education, we are with you. And we will always be with you. These are trying times for all of us, but we are not only your elected officials, we are your neighbors, we are your family members, and we are with you. Our students have been witness to, and many have experienced firsthand, as you have been hearing, significant trauma and tragedy over the past few days. I personally, I am sad and I am angry about what our community is going through. On behalf of the board, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the family and community of Renee Nicole Good. We are so sorry for your unimaginable loss, and we mourn with you and we share your anger. As adults and educators, we have a duty to protect and nurture our students. What we've been living through is just the opposite. These moments remind us how important, though, it is to stand together, as we are doing here today, and that we will continue to do tomorrow, the next day, however long it takes. At Minneapolis Public Schools, we believe that everyone belongs. And we are committed to doing everything we can to keep our students, our staff, and our families safe. To the elected officials behind me, I'm so proud of all of you for standing up for our children and putting them first. I thank you for everything that you are doing. I thank you for your coordination with us, and I look forward to our continued partnership as this all continues. We will get through this. Let's continue to lead with compassion and unity as we work to support our community. I want to thank you all again for being here and for the dedication and work that you are doing. I do have something else I need to address. Minneapolis Public Schools has been focused on providing direct support to our students, our staff, and our families. We acknowledge the fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that many in our community have expressed. Schools and school districts exist within communities. And what happens in the community impacts our learning environments. As of Monday, our high schoolers were sent back to school. Many of them had were able to opt into an online option. That option was available to our elementary schools yesterday. To our parents, any questions you have, we have 75 schools. It's going to look different at every school. So I require everyone to just go ahead, talk to your local school leaders. On behalf of the board, Minneapolis Public Schools also supports the federal lawsuit filed on behalf of the state of Minnesota alongside the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul against the Department of Homeland Security and related agencies and officials, asking the court to end the surge of DHS agents into the state and to leave our kids alone.
That's right. Leave our kids alone.
On behalf of our community at MPS, we'd like to thank our government partners for taking this next step. I thank you all, and we are with you.
Thank you. All right, we are continuing to follow this live news conference, this briefing that has been, now we learn that this is something that the city of Minneapolis is going to do regularly. They'll have a live streamed update. Not sure if it's going to be daily or what time. They haven't released any of those details, but announcing some of that today as well. We are going to take a break. As we go to break here, we want to show you one of the other scenes that we are watching today. This is live in St. Paul as students within the St. Paul School District are walking out at this hour, and they are walking from mostly Central High School over to the state capitol, where on the steps of the capitol soon they'll be having a rally with some speakers. So stay with us. All Day Live continues right after this.
To serve you.
And thanks for being with us here on All Day Live as we continue to follow the live events that are happening here in the Twin Cities. And there are a lot. There are also events happening in Washington, D.C. that Amber's keeping an eye on that are solely focused on Minnesota right now. One story we wanted to bring you as we continue our coverage here, we've got a couple, but one that popped here in the last couple of hours is being reported by all the networks now, CBS, ABC, The Hill just put up a story as well, but they're reporting that Jonathan Ross, who is the ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good 1 week ago today, suffered internal bleeding to the torso. Articles are citing 2 U.S. officials who were briefed on his medical condition. Unclear, no confirmation on how extensive that bleeding was. The Department of Homeland Security has confirmed Ross's injury, but has not yet responded to a request for more information as to the extent of those injuries. So that's just one story that we are continuing to follow here that broke just a couple within the last couple of hours or so. A court hearing this morning happened on Minnesota's lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security to stop the ICE operations in the state. Attorneys for Minnesota essentially asking for a temporary restraining order to provide some relief, a pause, they say, to lower the temperature. The judge ended up denying that request, said she wants to hear from the government first, which is asking for some more time. It's Judge Kate Menendez, who was appointed by President Biden, and ended up ordering the government now to respond to this lawsuit by Monday, and then the state would have to reply by next Thursday. So that's the timeline. The background here, Minnesota, the cities of St. Paul, Minneapolis are suing the federal government, Kristi Noem as well. The immigration enforcement surge, they say, is causing severe harm, of course, citing the deadly shooting of Renee Good last week. The federal government has accused the state of Minnesota of, among other things, prioritizing politics over public safety. And then a couple of other notes here. Some Minnesota Republicans are launching a bid to impeach Governor Tim Walz, of course, at the state level. Representative Mark Weiner, who represents District 5B, that's the area including Wadena and then to the east into Cass County, has actually drafted 4 articles of impeachment against the governor. They accuse Governor Walz of concealing or permitting the concealment of fraud, interfering with lawful actions related to fraud, placing political considerations above lawful administration, and also failing to properly steward public funds. For an impeachment effort to succeed, it would have to pass through the Minnesota House and the Senate. We know that in the House, that control is split, both parties with 67 seats each. Weiner said that he would need 1 Democrat in a committee to vote with him for it to go to the House. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then also yesterday, of course, we reported the impeachment articles that are against Kristi Noem at the federal level as well. So we are going to take a quick break here. We do have some more headlines for you as we continue to follow live breaking news here in the Twin Cities. And the most recent live event that we have is this one in St. Paul, where students across the district are walking out of class and they are walking toward the Capitol, where they are planning on having a rally at the Capitol steps here in the next 30 minutes or so. Stay with us. And welcome back to All Day Live as we continue to follow some live events that are happening in and around the Twin Cities right now as we continue to watch the fallout from 1 week ago today. It was 1 week ago today when Renee Good was killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis, and we've seen a lot of the fallout since. And as these immigration enforcement operations continue to grow across the Twin Cities, it's affecting communities you might not think of right away. The Oglala Sioux Tribe says 4 of its members were detained by federal officials back on January 8th, and one they say has been released, but tribe attorneys have been told that there are still 3 in custody at the ICE detention center at Fort Snelling. Joining me now is Ruth Buffalo, CEO of the Minnesota Indigenous Women's Resource Center. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Dosha, hello, and Madzigidads, thank you for the invite.
I don't know how much you personally know, but I have to ask, just given kind of the news of these 4 men, what have you been told about what happened, initially and then the arrest? What can you tell us?
We have received reports that a total of 5 Native men, tribal citizens, tribal members, and descendants have been wrongfully detained by ICE federal agents, 4 from the same tribe, which is the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and 1 a descendant of Red Lake Nation.
Okay, do you know anything more about, sorry to put you on the spot, I know we want to talk about some other things here, but just on the news of this, do you know anything else about, where they are right now? Have they had a chance, the one who's been released, I guess, had a chance to communicate at all about what he sort of went through in the last couple of days?
Yes, the Red Lake Nation descendant has been released and is with family and seeking care, but it does sound like it was a very traumatic experience. The other 4 individuals were unhoused, and Oglala Sioux Tribe, I believe, is working to locate their 4 tribal members, and so more news is unfolding, and more information is needed for sure.
Sure. Okay. We'll hopefully get some more of those details here as the days continue. So can we just kind of step back for a minute and just kind of speak to those who may not understand the structure and the way things kind of work? It can be very complicated when it comes to things like treaties. Can you explain a little bit for those who may not understand the treaty? It's in place. What does it affirm for tribal communities?
Sure. Simply put, Native Americans, American Indians, tribal communities, Native Americans are United States citizens. We are sovereign citizens to these lands, what is currently present-day United States of America. So we have been original citizens of these lands since time immemorial. And so essentially, in terms of explaining a trust and treaty responsibility of the United States federal government, the United States federal government has a trust and treaty obligation and responsibility to American Indians and Alaska Native people. And these inherent rights include being able to exercise our sovereignty, which means that we are able to be citizens, dual citizens, with the United States and with our respective tribal nation. And so those trust and treaty obligations came to fruition as a result of the signed peace agreements in order to live in harmony on this land together. And so more to come there, lots to unpack, but in this short time frame, Native Americans, we are the original of these lands, and the rhetoric from long ago stands pretty strong today, hence the reason why there's so much misinformation and not enough information of the unique political relationship that American Indians are born into with the United States federal government.
So have you had any conversations, with others about, so why are Native Americans who are citizens of the United States being detained by federal officials?
Yes, I myself, my family, my children, we are members of a federally recognized tribe. And so we do live, off of the reservation, and I would say at least 55%, if not more, live off the reservations in urban areas. And really, it's unfortunate, but oftentimes, it's just a matter of profiling, really. DHS has been directly terrorizing the communities here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And unfortunately, it's been Black and brown communities. So there has been a very high rate of racial profiling. And so simply for the color of your skin, or, it's just ridiculous because it's being based off of how you look. And many of our tribal citizens, tribal members, our tribal IDs are being disregarded. People are being harassed in broad daylight at a stoplight, minding their own business. And recently we've witnessed unsheltered Native men being harassed by ICE federal agents who are just sitting on the street, so it's very alarming and very unfortunate that this sort of aggressive harassment, terroristic treatment is taking place upon our most vulnerable individuals.
In just a minute here, we're going to put up the resource. We talked about it yesterday on our newscast when we saw there's sort of, they're calling it almost like pop-up ID opportunities for people to go and get free ID, waiving any kind of fees like that. So we'll put that up in a minute. But I wanted to also just, ask, so if there's a member of the community who, how are you preparing them? What is the message to them if they were to go out and about? What should they have with them? Are there things that they should say? What's the message?
To make sure you have your tribal ID on you, have copies, because even those who are presenting tribal IDs to federal ICE agents, they're still being met with great resistance and disregard. So definitely keep copies of your birth certificate, your tribal ID, whether it's the plastic card or paper, and make sure you write on your arm the Native American Rights Fund, their contact information should you be wrongfully detained. You do have a right to reach out and seek protection. And so that number is, one second.
It's okay. And you said it's a Native American Rights Fund. Is that what you said?
Yes, and the number is 303-447-8760. We're encouraging all of our tribal membership and descendants, to write 303-447-8760 on their arm. But we also encourage everyone to contact your tribal enrollment office to make sure your information is updated. There's over 155 tribal nation citizens that live in the Twin Cities metro area, and we want everybody to be safe and to know their rights, and please remain peaceful and prayerful as we prepare for things that are to come here.
Okay, Ruth, as long as we have you. Amber, I don't know if we can put up do we have a list of those resources? And if we don't, there we go. So this is something that we pulled that we wanted to just share with folks because it's happening, some of it is happening today as well, but these are just some of the different areas. And we'll have this on our website as well. I know we did a story yesterday too for folks who wanted to, if they don't have their ID on them or they want to have an extra one, or these are events where folks can stop and grab those without paying any sort of fees or anything like that. And again, I know it's a lot of information on there. We'll have it on our website. Ruth, is there, I know we're still kind of, early-ish on in this situation. I'm wondering if there are ways for tribal members or the tribes themselves to fight this. We see that there are that the federal government has certain protections, and then as U.S. citizens, we have certain rights and protections as well. I'm not as familiar with how it works with the tribe and the federal government. I mean, are there ways to raise your hand and say this is happening, this has to stop, or what's happening within the tribal communities?
We have definitely seen an increase of mobilization, with the list of tribal enrollment pop-up stations here in the metro area, whether it's in, tribal nations located here in Minnesota or tribes located out of state. Definitely seen more statements come out from tribal nations in the area. For example, numerous tribal nations out of South Dakota that have issued statements in support of their tribal membership. We know that Oglala Sioux Tribe has released a statement and sent letters directly to Department of Interior and to Kristi Noem. We know that Kristi Noem has had a very contentious relationship with tribal nations in South Dakota. And it's just unfortunate that there are 4 Native men, Oglala men, tribal members, who were wrongfully detained by ICE. And many believe that they were housed at Fort Snelling, which has some really historic, bad, historic trauma there as well. And so we just have to do better as a country, as a nation, and we can't continue to repeat past harms and past mistakes. And so we ask, if there is room for a pause, to please pause, cease fire, because innocent people continue to be harmed, and we don't want any further fatalities. We need to prevent further tragedies from happening.
Ruth Buffalo, thank you so much for your time today. Hearing from the Native American community on what they're seeing on the ground as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Odds.
All right, we're going to take a break here. When All Day Live continues, we are continuing to follow a lot of developing stories and some live news for you. This is a chopper shot right now over St. Paul, where students from the St. Paul School District are making their way to the state capitol, holding a rally here within the next 15 minutes or so. We'll take you there. Also, top of the hour, we're learning about an arrest. There's going to be a press conference in the death of a baby at a daycare in Savage. Plus, we're continuing to track more immigration enforcement impacts here in Minnesota. Stay with us. And welcome back to All Day Live. I'm Amy Huckard. It's coming up on 1 o'clock, our second hour of live coverage here of events that are happening in the Twin Cities and beyond. As we bring you to some live events, we're keeping an eye on a press conference that's going to be starting here any moment now, we anticipate. And this is on the, we believe there's going to be An arrest announced in the death at a daycare in Savage. This was back in September, the Rocking Horse Ranch. There was an 11-month-old who died at the daycare. If you want to learn a little bit more, there's a story on fox9.com. Our Karen Scullin has been following the story for a few months, and she's there. Will bring us the latest. We'll get the latest details when that gets going. Following a couple of other live events, though, for you as well in St. Paul. We know that there's a walkout. We've been following that, so we'll show you that here in just a couple of moments. But first, we want to go through some of the other headlines of the day here, including this one that came out about 11 o'clock or so this morning. There are reports now by pretty much all of the major networks and others, The Hill, that Jonathan Ross, who was the ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good, it was 1 week ago today in Minneapolis, suffered internal bleeding to the torso. These articles cite 2 U.S. officials who say that they were briefed on Ross's medical condition. Not clear how extensive the bleeding was. None of the reports talk about that, but the Department of Homeland Security, according to these different reports, has confirmed Ross's injury. They haven't responded again to how severe. So we're keeping an eye on that story as well as that continues to develop. Okay, let's take you to the press conference in Savage now, again announcing an arrest in the daycare
death. This has been a really difficult time for our community, and we appreciate your patience as this investigation has unfolded. We have several people who will be speaking with you today. First, you'll hear from our mayors, Christine Kelly, followed by Police Chief Brady Jewell and Scott County Attorney Ron Hosever. Members of the Mucklebust family are also here to share a few words. After the prepared statements, Chief Jewell and County Attorney Hosever will be available to answer questions. Please note that the family will not be taking questions at this time. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Kelly.
Thank you, Emily. Today marks a significant step forward in a case that has weighed heavily on our community for the last 4 months. While nothing can undo what has happened, this arrest brings us closer to answers and accountability. I want to thank Chief Jewell and our entire Savage Police Force for their tireless work on this investigation. Our thanks also go out to the Scott County Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners for their tireless efforts in making this happen. This kind of work takes patience, expertise, and dedication. And we're grateful for everyone who stayed committed to finding the truth. Most importantly, however, we recognize the family who has endured an unimaginable loss and has waited for this day. Our community has held you in our thoughts throughout this difficult time. We hope today's announcement brings you some measure of closure. Thank you, and I will turn it over to Chief Jewell.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Kelly. Thank you all for being here today during this incredibly difficult time for our community. I am Chief Brady Jewell of the Savage Police Department. I'm joined by County Attorney Ron Hosevar of the Scott County Attorney's Office, members of the Mucklebust family, police staff, and detectives as well of our investigations unit. Here at the podium, we stand united in grief, resolve, and commitment to justice. Today, we come before you with heavy hearts to announce that an arrest has been made in the tragic death of 11-month-old Harvey Mucklebust at the Rocking Horse Daycare. The individual arrested is Thea Ludmilla Russell, born February 3rd, 2007, an 18-year-old employee of the daycare center. She is currently being held in Scott County Jail facing charges of second-degree murder and additional related charges. This arrest follows an intensive, more than 3-month investigation led by Savage Police Department's investigation team, who are here today. They were directed by Sergeant Andrew Dames. We are fortunate to have exceptional partnerships and support from numerous agencies whose expertise was absolutely instrumental. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension for crime scene processing, homicide detectives, and laboratory analysis. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit played a huge part. Scott County Attorney's Office played a huge part and role in this arrest. The Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services. The Shakopee Police Department, Prior Lake Police Department, Scott County Sheriff's Office, and Carver County Sheriff's Office. We thank them all for their part. Through this collaborative effort, we developed probable cause to believe the following tragic sequence of events. On Friday, September 19th in the afternoon, Savage Police Department responded to the Rocking Horse Ranch Daycare after reports of a 4-month-old child who was briefly not breathing and was found with blood and foam under her nose and mouth. By the time officers arrived, the child was breathing again and was being transported to the hospital by the parents. At that time, this appeared to be a medical episode with no immediate foul play concerns raised. The child was later evaluated, released, and over the weekend was reported to be acting normally with no further issues observed whatsoever. On that following Monday, September 22nd, 2025, at approximately 8:30 p.m., that same child returned to the daycare healthy and well. A short time later, she was again found unresponsive, not breathing, with blood around her nose and mouth. The child's parents were notified, returned to the center, and transported her to the hospital. Our department was not dispatched for that second incident. Tragically, just 2 hours later, at about 10 a.m. that same morning, Thea Russell called 911 to report an 11-month-old child, Harvey Mucklebust, was not breathing. Police, fire, and EMS responded immediately and initiated life-saving efforts. Harvey Mucklebust was transported to the hospital where he, despite all those life-saving efforts, was pronounced deceased at approximately 11:34 a.m. The daycare was immediately closed after this incident. All children were safely released to their parents, and the scene was thoroughly processed forensically with the assistance of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Over the following 3 months, investigators conducted dozens of interviews with daycare staff, parents of children who attended, and various contractors associated with the facility. A clear pattern emerged. Thea Russell was a common denominator in each of these incidents. She had last contact with each of the affected children immediately prior to these events. Notably, she had only been employed with the daycare for 3 weeks at that time. Her behavior and actions at the scene immediately raised suspicion, drawing investigative focus to her as the primary person of interest. Investigators conducted an exhaustive review of Thea's background, including in-depth interviews with family members, friends, previous employers, and other personal contacts. This revealed a documented history of attention-seeking behavior, including her making multiple 911 calls, reporting nonsensical incidents, and simply hanging up. Also learned were past incidents involving starting fires at a church camp and erratic behavior toward other children. Based on the totality of the evidence in this 3 months investigation, we had probable cause to believe Thea Russell intentionally suffocated these children on 3 occasions to seek attention, and that third incident tragically resulted in the death of Harvey Mucklebust. During questioning, Thea confessed to intentionally suffocating the 2 children in an attention-seeking act. Yesterday at approximately 9:15 a.m., Thea Russell was arrested, leaving her home. She was transported to the Savage Police Department for questioning. During the questioning, Thea confessed to intentionally suffocating the 2 children in an attention-seeking act. She provided detailed descriptions of how she carried out the attempts against the life of the first victim on 2 separate occasions, and she confessed to the murder of Harvey Mucklebust. For the sake of both of the victims and their families, I'm withholding the specific details she admitted. There will be outlined in the pending formal complaint. I want to be perfectly clear, however. Thea Russell has confessed to the attempted murder of our first victim on 2 occasions and to the murder of Harvey Mucklebust. This is a heartbreaking case that has shaken our entire community. No words can fully express the profound sorrow we feel for the Mucklebust family and all of those affected by this crime. Our thoughts remain with Harvey's loved ones, and we are committed to supporting them through every step that will undoubtedly be a long and difficult journey. With that, I will now turn the podium over to Scott County Attorney Ron Hocevar for comments regarding the prosecution.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. First off, my condolences to both families whose children were harmed by this individual, with one ultimately, unfortunately, passing away. Obviously, a terrible situation where these children were placed in an environment where their safety and security is supposed to be taken care of, and this individual violated that in the most egregious way. My compliments to the investigation in this case, the Savage Police Department, BCA, the FBI, and all the other agencies that you heard Chief Brady talk about. It was an extensive, exhaustive investigation which the truth came out. And it's due to their efforts that we're able to go ahead and prosecute this case. My office is currently working on the complaint, working on the charges. We anticipate that we'll have charges filed by tomorrow, close of business with a bail hearing most likely happening Friday morning. It will be available, myself and the Chief will be available for some questions afterwards. But at this point, and as Chief Brady indicated, that the family does not want to take questions, but Julie, I believe Harvey's grandmother, would like to say something.
My name is Julie Mucklebust, Harvey's Nana. I am providing this statement on behalf of Harvey's dad and mom, Hunter and Catherine, his brother, and our entire family. First, we'd like to express our gratitude to the Savage Police Department, and specifically Detective Andrew Dames and his investigative team for their tireless efforts to seek the truth in Harvey's death. We appreciate the time, care, and compassion you have given our family. We would also like to thank the Scott County Attorney's Office, the Hennepin County Medical Examiner, the Minnesota BCA, FBI, and all the other agencies that assisted to providing a thorough investigation. From the moment Harvey was born, he filled our world with sunshine. His passion for playing, infectious laugh, loving heart put a smile on everybody's face. Just 5 days shy of his first birthday, he was on the move, crawling, climbing up the stairs and sliding back down, and learning to say mama and dada. He loved the time playing with his big brother, who misses him deeply. He was affectionately known as our little Harv monster. Harvey was such a blessing to our family, and his death has left a tremendous hole in our hearts. Harvey's fingerprints are on my sliding glass door, and his drool stains still show on his crib sheets. Those are the little things that I'm not ready to wash away. We miss him more than anything in this world. But we try to remember with each ray of sunshine, each gentle breeze, and each star in the sky that he's always with us shining down. Harvey, every day we ask ourselves why it had to be you. Every day we live with the pain of what happened to you. But we promise that every day we will say your name. Every day we will continue to fight for you. And in the end, we will make sure that justice has been served. Harvey, we love and miss you. Thank you.
Again, currently the family does not want to answer any questions from the media or for the public. So out of respect, they're going to now leave the press conference. Scott County Attorney Mike Hocevar, myself, and the mayor will be here for any questioning if you guys have questions. We'll make the time for it now. I just want to say again, off script, that this murder, an attempted murder of another child, deeply affected our community like nothing we have seen in the past. Our pursuit of this justice in this case took a long time, and we understand that's frustrating for people. But we were not stopping until we got to the bottom of it. This case was extremely difficult, with thousands of hours between all the adjoining partners putting into this and interviewing people. This has taken a mental toll on our unit. Anytime the senseless loss of life of such an incredible young boy. And we, meaning myself and the Scott County Attorney's Office, this case isn't done. Our investigation continues, and we will do everything we can for a successful prosecution in this case. This person should never, ever again be free to harm another child. With that being open, we're open to questions.
Yes,
Karen?
Or Mr. Hocevar, will Rocking Horse face any charges? Is there an investigation into the child care facility?
The question was, is Rocking Horse facing any investigation for criminal liability? The answer is no. At this time, we do not have a case against the owner or anybody there. The case, I believe, is still with Family Services, who holds the responsibility of investigating daycares, and the case is with them. But at this time, we have not any investigation into the owners or the daycare.
Chief, I know your team has been working really hard on this for days and months. If you could talk about how many times you talked to her before yesterday when she said those things to you that broke open this case. Talk to me about that and what that moment was like. Were you in the room with them?
So the question is, how many times did we interview Thea? I can say that I've never interviewed her. I've never met her, but our investigations unit did speak with her several times during the course of the investigation. I'm not able to give an exact number, but it was multiple times.
That moment, though, when your detectives came out and told you what she had said, what was that like for your department?
This case has taken an emotional toll. And after her arrest, I'm not sure what changed, but when we had the confession, I can't tell you inside on a case where someone's denying something and then confesses, admits to what they did, there's extreme elation. Mostly, we felt that we were going to be able to tell the family what happened because they didn't know. And that's an incredible feeling. I don't want to say of joy during such a tragic incident, relief and a sense of accomplishment came over our entire investigative unit once we had that confession.
Did Ms. Russell show any remorse for making?
I'm not going to speak to that. I think that'll come out in the course of the trial, whether she felt remorse or not. I don't want to speak to how she felt. I can tell you that our investigators were just amazed every time they talked to her, and just, again, as I said in my statement, she was a person of interest from the very beginning due to the way she acted. And I won't go into any more details because you'll see some of those in the formal complaint.
Through your investigation with all the other agencies and such, was there any indication of a history of mental illness that came up?
I cannot speak to that either. I'm sorry. The question was there a history of mental illness that we saw? And I cannot answer that question. Go ahead.
If she had any other previous employment where she was around children?
The question was, did Thea Russell have any previous employment where she was around other children? Yes. And I will tell you that will be in the formal complaint, and that will be a factor in our prosecution.
Are there any other cases out there with other agencies or former employers that are being investigated now?
During the course of our investigation, we came across no other active investigations or any type of procedures that were being affected against her.
Can you speak to the status of Rocking Horse right now, their ability to reopen and that sort of thing?
The question is, what's the status of Rocking Horse Ranch's Daycare's license? They are currently closed, and I do not know today's status of the daycare, but as far as my knowledge, they have not been allowed to reopen.
What has been Rocking Horse's response to all of this? I know that they have actually appealed that suspension they did in September, shortly after this did.
The question was, what's the response? I would say within several weeks of the start of the investigation, they discontinued contact with our police department, and we were referred to their attorney for any questioning or any needs that we had. But after those first several weeks, the relationship just became a lawyer-investigator type relationship.
Chief, maybe I missed this, and my apologies if you said, what led to the arrest? What led to yesterday being the day? Is that when everything was buttoned up and you felt we're ready to go, take this case forward, before that confession?
A summary of the question is, what led to the arrest yesterday and why yesterday? There's no one answer. I will refer to the county attorney's formal complaint you're going to see, but we felt that after 3 months of an exhaustive search, we had had enough. And we had enough to formulate that probable cause for the arrest. There is no one thing. It was a culmination of timing in this investigation, evidence coming back from sources that take 6-8 weeks, strategizing, personnel, the availability of the county attorney and their office to be present and during the investigation, and we had set the plan. This was the day we felt we had enough, and I will say in my 31 years of law enforcement, this was the best executed arrest, questioning, and takedown of a murder I have ever seen. I'm extremely proud of my department's investigative unit, my staff, and the relationship we have with the county attorney. I cannot say enough how much our partners in law enforcement helped in the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit, the FBI's regional office, and the BCA homicide investigators. They all were crucial partners in this investigation. I will not stand up here and say it was our department alone. I will say the efforts of Sergeant Andrew Dames and his team, I've never seen anything to match that. It was incredible.
One more question. You had said with the second incident of the 4-month though, that police were not dispatched? Were police called? Did Rocking Horse or anyone call 911?
The question is the first victim, the second call. Because of the proximity to where the child was dropped off and the incident, we believe that they felt at that time it was a medical thing, and they handled it by calling the parent, who came back very quickly, grabbed the child, and then took it for further medical examination. We believe that's the reason why we were not called. We felt that they probably followed their procedure, but we're not sure why we weren't called, but we were not.
Did Rocking Horse have any surveillance?
And we are continuing to follow this breaking story in Savage, where a 3-month investigation has now led to the arrest and confession from 18-year-old Thea Russell, a worker at that daycare Rocking Horse Ranch, for 3 weeks before the attempted murder of one child, 2 different instances, and then the murder of 11-year-old Harvey Mucklebust, again, Rocking Horse Ranch. So no charges against the owners of the daycare or the daycare. That investigation seems to be closed. We are continuing to follow more headlines here and more live events for you on All Day Live. We're going to take a quick break, and as we do, we're going to show you what we'll show you more of here on the other side of the break. This is obviously Attorney General Keith Ellison with students. This is a student-led walkout, ended at the state capitol steps, and we'll bring it to you here in just a couple of minutes.
And you guys, you're not the future, you're the right now. You're not what we're hoping for, you're what we got. And
Welcome back to All Day Live. I'm Amy Hockert. We're really glad that you're with us here. Coming up on 1:30 in the afternoon, we want to take you out live again to St. Paul. This is where several St. Paul public school students have walked out of their classes today and have ended up here on the steps of the state capitol demanding an end to the ICE presence in their communities. There are some speakers that are going to be there as well. We just saw the Attorney General Keith Ellison, who was just addressing the crowd of youth. And Amber, do we want to just kind of listen in for a moment here? Okay, let's listen in.
no justice, no peace, no ICE in our streets. No justice, no peace, no ICE in our streets. No justice. No ice on the chest. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No justice, no justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice, no peace. No ice in our streets. No justice.
All right, so what you were watching is the state capitol steps where students, many of them, we had an aerial view a little bit earlier, throughout the St. Paul School District and surrounding schools have marched from their schools to the state capitol steps, holding a rally here. We talked with one of the organizers yesterday who told us he anticipated there could be as many as a couple of thousand students there who are going to participate. Just waiting to see if there are going to be some speakers. Here we just heard from the Attorney General Keith Ellison a couple of moments ago, and then there were a couple of other speakers that we saw that were on the schedule as well. So while we wait here, let's just give us a second and see if they're going to speak here. All right. Okay, so let's take a break and come on back, and we'll check back in on this in a couple of minutes. Stay with us. All Day Live continues. All right, welcome back to All Day Live as we continue to watch the live events at the state capitol steps where there are students gathered. We also want to take you to the state capitol inside where there is a press conference going on. This is reaction from state officials, some union leaders to President Trump's announcement Tuesday that the federal government is cutting funding to sanctuary cities and states starting February 1st in an attempt to stop fraud and crime. Let's listen in.
At the end, if you have any. So with that, I am going to introduce the first of the speakers representing our union and a home care worker who drove down this morning from Duluth in order to share her experience and perspective with you, my friend Andrea Hannick.
Hi there. My name is Andrea Hannick. I am a caregiver for two of my sons, and we live in Duluth, Minnesota. I serve as an executive board member for our union, SEIU Healthcare Minnesota and Iowa, and I also serve on the Northeast Minnesota Area Labor Council. I'm here today to call out the harm that could be caused and threatened by the Trump administration as they target vulnerable people across the nation. Last year, Republicans in Congress cut $1 trillion from Medicaid. Cuts which are already due to hit disabled people across the U.S. next year. Now we're watching the Trump administration turn its vengeful sights on Minnesota. We've all watched the violence and bloodshed from masked ICE agents on the news and in our social media feeds as they terrorize our communities and target our loved ones and our neighbors. Now they're using that same racism and xenophobia under the guise of fraud to try to cut another $2 billion from Medicaid programs in Minnesota, which includes the home care services our members provide. These services are the lifeline that help keep our elders and Minnesotans with disabilities, like my sons, safer in their homes and out of institutionalized care. Just over a month ago, one of my sons returned home after a prolonged hospital stay. The time he was in the hospital was difficult and heartbreaking for my son, his family, and me as his mom, because we lost time with him in our home, doing everyday things and important things, and there's a connection that we have to rebuild now. So now he's returned home, and we got the blessing of finding someone other than me to provide for care for his disability-related needs. So as difficult as this time was, I'm now imagining how hard it will be for us moving forward without this home care service. The bottom line, we won't. If my son loses the care that maintains the progress he made in the hospital, he may not survive. We and so many others just like us need every single piece of this puzzle to work, or these kids won't make it. These programs save and sustain lives every day, and they're being targeted. Why? For what? Political points? Revenge for having a governor who dares to disagree with this administration? To pay for ICE to terrorize us? Is this the country that we live in now? Really? They've been playing political games since the election, using tired old rhetoric to stoke our worst impulses. But this week, it is clear in Minnesota that these are no longer political games. They are attacks. They hate Minnesota so much they're willing to let our disabled and our elderly loved ones die to punish us. And they want us to hate our neighbors so much that we call it justified. We cannot fall for this. We are better than this. If we allow these attacks here in Minnesota, they will not stop here. They will aim these attacks at any state that dares to challenge them or stand in their way. And they're showing us that they will start with the most vulnerable. This has to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Next, we'll invite up Ms. Deb Housey.
Thank you all for having us here. My name is Deb Housey, and I've been a home care worker, paid and unpaid, for over 40 years. During that time, I have cared for countless people so they can stay in their homes. I once cared for a woman who was over 101 years old, who was able to stay in her home because of me. I currently work with 3 different clients, one who has Parkinson's, one who's on continuous oxygen, and one who has MS. 2 of them are losing their housing because the rent is raising faster than their fixed incomes. People are barely hanging in there as before, like all this craziness that's going on. We made big strides here in Minnesota supporting this work, which is good for both workers and the people we care for. Governor Walz actually walked a day with me. He worked with me doing a walk a day a few years back to see the challenges of our work. And he has helped us raise raises for this work to make sure we have enough people to care for the seniors and people with disabilities. But cutting Medicaid is to punish our state will mean seniors and people with disabilities will die. This is what this has come to. People dying in the streets, people dying in their homes, people dying in their cars, people dying in the hospitals, having no place to go. This is what this means. Everyone will have one day need Medicare, whether for themselves or their loved ones. Who knows? We are divided. They want to divide us. They want to use us as scapegoats, certain people. But we also know that these cuts will hurt people of every color. People are going to be out in the streets just dying. So do they care? Do they care? Or do they only care about giving billionaires tax cuts and funding mass agents, killing our neighbors and tearing our communities and our families apart? Trump is trying to make an example out of Minnesota because we actually are trying to help people. Trump has already cut so much. How could they cut more? For what? What's his motive? What's his attacks on Minnesota? Why us first? Why us last? Why us at all? Do they care at all? People are getting hurt by these cuts. Trump, Dr. Oz, all of you, stop playing games. Stop playing cards. Stop shuffling people around. People are suffering. People are actually going to die, and people are dying. I'm 76 years old. I have problems. So in addition to being a caregiver, I am a part of my union's retiree council, where we fight to make sure seniors are taken care of. Do Donald Trump and his billionaire friends care at all about seniors and people with disabilities? Well, he's a senior himself. All of them are senior citizens coming down the pipeline, getting help. They have paid care. They have it until they die. They have no challenges like we do. So what's this all about? It's clear. The answer is no. Are you listening? Are we listening? The attacks must stop on Medicare. Stop attacking our immigrants. Stop using fraud as an excuse to hurt people. Just stop. Stop playing cards with people's life and shuffling us around. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deb. And our next speaker is Starlisha Doby.
Thank you, Philip. This room is awfully quiet. Can I get an SE? I-U. S-E. I-U. Thank you. We're here. Hello, my name is Starlisha Doby. I'm here to speak about the impact that could be caused by withholding or deferring funds from Medicaid programs in Minnesota. Now, I understand the goal of the Center for Medicaid Services and our elected leaders is to prevent Medicaid fraud. I also recognize that some providers in Minnesota have abused the system, making transparency and accountability more important than ever. I also understand there are specific guidelines for determining who is eligible to receive Medicaid services. Now, however, what I cannot comprehend is the justification for withholding or delaying billions of dollars from low-income families, children, seniors, and people with disabilities. Withholding funds from Medicaid programs could cause a health care crisis affecting all Minnesotans and healthcare systems. Programs that help our children, the disabled, the elderly. This could cause premiums to rise. This could cause our providers, our healthcare providers, not to be able to provide adequate care for those who are especially in need. Why should everyday Americans pay the price and suffer due to the actions of those committing fraud? Minnesota has endured enough hardships and loss. Melissa and Mark Hortman murdered in 2025. Philando Castile killed in 2016. George Floyd, murdered in 2020. And now Renee Nicole Good, killed 2026. All lives lost by law enforcement and gun violence. Why are we not talking about police reform and gun violence in America? Why isn't the government casting a spotlight on that? Let's address incoming inequality, racism, and bigotry that our ancestors died and marched for, that we're still trying to overcome to this day. Let's talk about how rent income is too damn high and why buying a home is not an option for so many. Let's talk about unaffordable child care and unaffordability and student loans. Let's talk about misogyny and unequal pay in the workplace that still exists. Let's address all the issues that have long existed in America, all across America, not just in blue states, not just in the great state of Minnesota. All people want is for our elected officials to do their jobs and for the government to stop using the lives of Americans as pawns in their political games. It's not a game. Minnesota didn't ask to be on display. We are still healing. But I am so proud of my state for continuing to peacefully protest and stand up for what we believe in. This is not a time to be afraid. Our ancestors had much less than we have, yet they had much more to fight for. They were fearless. Continue to protest, Minnesota. Continue to stand up for what you believe in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Starlisha. And our last speaker is the State Medicaid Director, John Connolly, who's going to share a perspective on the cuts that have been announced by the Trump administration. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Philip. Thanks all for being here. And it's hard to follow that act. There isn't a lot to add to that, but some of it bears repeating. Because Medicaid services are essential for so many people, it's important for us to remain focused on the facts. We must avoid emotions, politics, and hyperbole that can cloud the transparency the people of Minnesota deserve right now. When CMS sent us at the Department of Human Services here in Minnesota a December 5th letter asking for a corrective action plan, we understood the urgency they were communicating to us. With a December 31st deadline just 26 days away, we worked hard to provide the information they requested. We had been working on this issue, program integrity, as a top priority for well over a year, and many of the suggested changes had either been implemented or were in process. And since October 2024, we had been working frequently in partnership with CMS staff to harden our processes, minimize risk, and prevent fraud. As we were implementing their suggestions over the months, CMS staff did not indicate that our work was insufficient. In fact, CMS has been a longtime partner, reviewing and approving multiple times how we administer our Medicaid program in Minnesota through our state plan and waivers. So we were disappointed to find out that our draft corrective action plan, submitted on New Year's Eve, was summarily rejected in an unprecedented way, with little substantive analysis of the facts and no time for the state and federal agencies that typically partner to discuss and agree upon a corrective action plan that would be implemented. There are numerous politically charged claims of how much Minnesota has lost to Medicaid fraud. And to be very clear, even $1 of fraud is too much. And our work to prevent and fight fraud is nowhere near done. Further, our investigations are continuing and our findings are evolving. But guessing about amounts is not going to solve the problem. We're particularly concerned that CMS did not conduct a recent audit to support their decision to disallow or defer funds. It relied on off-topic and out-of-date reports from 2017 to 2021, and those reports aren't relevant to the issues currently facing our program and our state. Additionally, there are no facts to support withholding all funds from the 14 benefits that were named. Even if there is a finding of non-compliance, the withholding must be based on specific findings from a review or audit. You can't just choose a number when you're talking about funding that is essential to many people's health and well-being and could even determine, as folks here said, whether people live or die. Right now, we're waiting for CMS to set a hearing date so we can address these issues. We're confident in our plan to address fraud in Minnesota, and we want to continue to work with CMS to resolve these issues and to serve the people of Minnesota together. Thank you.
And you have been listening to some reaction from local leaders. That was the director of Medicaid here from Minnesota. We're going to take a quick break here and come on back and wrap up All Day Live, take you back out to St. Paul, where a lot of students out there gathered, and they are protesting ICE's presence here in Minnesota.
Okay, guys, let's keep going. Also,
All right, let's take you right to St. Paul. That's our Rob Olson. He's been talking to some of the students at the student-led protest at the state capitol. Rob, who have you been talking to?
Well, I've been talking to some students from several different high schools here, Harding, Central, a few others, Highland Park, that all come out here. There's a few hundred students out here, ranging across demographics and ages, certainly with high school, that say that, they don't like what they've seen in their community, and they want to make their stand. They want to make a statement that they don't want to see this ICE enforcement action continue anymore. I just talked to one student who who says her grandparents who are legally here are afraid to go out anywhere. Their English is limited. They feel like they might be targeted. They feel like they might be deported. I asked her, well, what reason might they be deported? And she said they don't know. They're living in sort of that aura of fear that they feel like that could happen, even though that they are legally in the country. So that's sort of the essence of what we're getting. What school are you guys from?
Highland Park.
Highland Park?
St. Paul Academy.
Okay, well, what do you think about, this show up?
This show up, I wish we had a bigger turnout, but it's nice seeing students out here, fighting for the cause, get these Nazis out of our city.
And what do you think that this adds to the conversation here in the community?
I mean, it's just all about, students showing up and showing love for our neighbors, right? I'm a Christian myself. When Jesus talked about loving his neighbor, he didn't ask if he was an immigrant. He didn't ask if he had papers, right? It's just love, and that's what we're all here spreading. Love is not spread through ice. That's not what's happening.
All right, thank you both, guys. Appreciate it. It's staying warm out here. Yeah. So quite a few kids here. Mainly Keith Ellison, the state attorney general, came out and addressed the crowd briefly at the beginning. The rest of it has largely just been a rally of chants of their opposition to ICE. So this is again on a cold day in January. This is what these students across St. Paul have decided to do to make their voices heard and be part of this conversation amidst this ongoing enforcement kind of crackdown across Minnesota. One student just told me that she feels that this is purely targeting Minnesota because of Governor Walz and doesn't feel that is the right approach to take either. So things are kind of wrapping up here now as kids will probably, I'm not sure where they're going from here, if they're going back to school. You guys go back to school from here, or are you done?
I think we're done.
You think you're done? Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
So there you go.
Rob.
That's what's been happening out here. Amy, we'll send it back to you.
Right. Thanks, Rob. They're organized because on their social media, they're organizing rides home. So leave it to the next generation to figure out all the logistics of something like that. Thank you for watching All Day Live. We appreciate it as we continue to cover these live events across our community here from noon until 2, Monday through Friday. Have a great rest of your day. We're going to just leave you with some of the sights and sounds here live at the St. Paul, at the Capitol and the steps in St. Paul. And we'll see you back here for our newscast starting at 5 o'clock.
I'm just going to say